Okay, this is a brief introduction to Chapter 3 of the Odyssey. I expect that all of you have heard of the Iliad and the Odyssey. Some of you may have read one or both in its entirety. Some of you probably believe that they were written by Homer, a blind Greek poet. It's possible that no such person as Homer ever existed, and whoever composed them probably did not write them. In fact, it's not only unlikely that the author knew how to write. Internal evidence in the poems themselves seems to indicate that the author didn't even know that writing existed. And that's not because writing didn't exist. It did. It just did not exist when and where these poems were composed. Most scholars believe that the Iliad and Odyssey were composed around 800 BCE, but the ancient Greeks didn't have alphabetic writing until about 500 BCE. Neighbors in Egypt had hieroglyphics much earlier, and people in what are now Syria and Iraq had written systems dating back to about 2400 BC. But it wasn't until the 5th century BCE that the Greeks borrowed certain characters from the Aramaic alphabet to represent their vowel sounds. So the Odyssey is the second of two related orally composed epic poems. The first, the Iliad, recounts the end of the 10-year-long Trojan War, the one where warriors from all over Greece went to Troy because a Trojan named Paris had taken a woman named Helen, who was the wife of Menelaus, the king of Sparta. The Greeks win and they head home, but Odysseus runs into various obstacles because Poseidon, the god of the sea, doesn't like him. Why? Because Odysseus had poked out the eye of the Cyclops Polyphemus, who was Poseidon's son. The Odyssey begins in Ithaca 10 years after the end of the Trojan War, where Odysseus' wife Penelope and their son Telemachus are beset by suitors who are eating and drinking them out of house and home, saying that Odysseus is surely dead, so Penelope should marry one of the suitors who wants to take over everything that had belonged to Odysseus. But Odysseus is not dead. He's just having a hard time getting back home because Poseidon is messing with him. Athena, who goes by Pallas Athena, whose Latin name becomes Minerva, she likes Odysseus. So she decides to intervene and help Telemachus search for his dad. But when the Greek gods interact with humans, they often do so in disguise. So in chapter 3, Athena is disguised as Mentor, and she is helping Telemachus, who is now 20 years old, look for his dad. Meanwhile, King Menelaus is happily reunited with Helen, and they are living in Sparta. But King Menelaus has a brother, Agamemnon, who left his cousin Aegisthus in charge when he went off to the Trojan War. Aegisthus is a dirty dog who seduces Agamemnon's wife, Clytemnestra, and the two of them kill Agamemnon when he returns from the Trojan War. Eventually, the children of Agamemnon get even and kill Aegisthus and Clytemnestra. As you read Book 3, tune into ways that the older generation teaches the younger generation how they should act.